amazing view of Wellington. This coffee shop was recommended. There's a giant stamp. All right, today we're in Wellington again. In this episode, we're gonna check out a few historic places. Pretty cloudy, it's really cold and stormy. It's pretty much winter now in New Zealand. Parked in front of this nude building, which is a furniture shop. It's a New Zealand brand and they make pretty high quality stuff. Pretty awesome if you are looking to buy some furniture. Before heading to the historic sites, we're gonna go pick up some coffee. Last episode, we kind of explored this area. This is Leeds Street. It's that alleyway with the chocolate factory and a few shops. So you can see right over here is Cuba Street. This coffee shop was recommended by one of the viewers. Let's go get some coffee. Yeah, so that's really good. Yum. So thank you for the suggestion. If you have any suggestions on places to check out, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to get to them in future videos. Alright, so we're going to be checking out the old government buildings. So here's the Parliament buildings, new ones. Across the street are the old government buildings. Let's go check them out. So just a block that way is the train station. Also, I believe the cruise ship buses stop in front of this building, which makes it pretty convenient if you arrive on a cruise ship. Here's the front of the old government building. About a block away, there's the train station, the building with the clock. And we have an info sign here, Government Buildings Historic Reserve. And this is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. One of the world's wooden wonders. So apparently when this was built, it was the second largest wooden structure in the world. The first being a temple in Japan. So it looks like there's some info boards on the outside of the building, stained, so you can't really read it. So this info sign is talking about the type of tree and timber they use. So it's called a kauri tree, and they can live for 2,000 years. This particular tree was planted in, I think it was 1958. That's what the signboard said. They're easy to work with because they have straight trunks. All right, let's go inside. Looks like there are exams going on inside. So these buildings were built in 1876. They were designed by William Clayton, a colonial architect. So you can see the woodwork here is really nice, very beautiful. At the entrance you have some brochures. So it's pretty interesting. It looks like they wanted to design it so it looked like an Italian stone building to convey strength and stability, but because it was too expensive, they used timber. And interestingly enough, if it had been built of stone, it probably wouldn't have survived earthquakes. So a lot of signboards and information. This one's about restoration. Cool little model right here. Ooh, look at this section. This is the vault. Thick door. Yeah, very heavy door. Let's go inside. There's someone in there. Scene from the 1880s where a messenger is returning ledgers to the vault at the end of a working day. Looks like a hole in the wall here. Really cool looking staircase. This is the second floor. Looks like down this way is the cabinet room. Out the windows here you can see a view of the beehive. One thing I noticed is a lot of the door handles are very low. I guess that would be, it's almost thigh height. So it looks like a lot of the rooms here are for professors. So this is part of Victoria University's law school. And here you can see an inside look of, or how the walls are put together. All right, so that's a brief look at the old government buildings. Let's go check out the next spot. It's the same rain blockers from the other episode. All right, so we've parked and we're off to the next historic site called the Antrim House. It's nice and cold today. It's very chilly. That's why you see everyone bundled up. You probably can hear the wind as well. It's very windy, which is pretty common in Wellington. All right, this is the Antrim House. This was built and owned by a shoe baron. So it was built in 1904 to 1905 for Robert Hanna, one of the city's most successful businessmen and founder of Hanna's Shoe Dynasty. Oh, that's interesting. So the shoe sign in my Cuba Street video, this was the guy who started that company. Some wonderful stained glass windows on the outside. So right at the start you have information pamphlets. And you have a lot of signboards and information. So it looks like he immigrated from Australia. So this was during the time where a lot of people were coming to New Zealand to hunt for gold. So it looks like there's a lot of heritage furniture as well. Looks like you can only explore this bottom area, this hallway in the room. Now the rest of the building is used by Heritage New Zealand as their office space. Looks like on the side of the house you have a little garden. And you can see how far back the home extends. That's the Antrim House. You can't really explore much. You can explore around and a little bit on the inside. All right, so let's go to the next spot. All right, the next spot we're going to check out is Old St. Paul's Cathedral. So this is Old St. Paul's Cathedral. They have shows and musicals, part of Heritage New Zealand. So some signboards on the inside. So this is a style known as Gothic Revival. So really amazing stained glass windows. These side bits were added later on to stabilize the building from the wind. I'd say it's a must-see if you're into heritage sites. You can see just down the road, that's the train station. Alright, before we get to the man-made beach, I just wanted to stop by this area here, which is where the boat houses are. You can see this is a boat harbor as well. So you can walk here from the harbor area. You can see there's Te Papa over here. All right, let's go check out the man-made beach. This is Oriental Bay Beach. It's a man-made beach, so they bring in sand from the South Island. So you have a little water fountain sculpture right here. All right, so it's super cold right now, so there's no one out on the beach, but in the summertime, this is a pretty popular area. So you can see across the water is the harbor. So the harbor walk does wrap all the way over to this location. So the sand is somewhat coarse, but it has a golden color. Originally they brought in finer sand, but because it's so windy in Wellington, most of that got blown away into the harbor. So they used a heavier weight sand. And because of the orientation of the beach, you do get longshore drift. So the sand does kind of move and pile up toward that area of the beach, more near Freiburg, I think is what it's called. And so every now and then they bring in tractors to redistribute the sand. That's Oriental Bay Beach. Let's go to Mount Vic Lookout Point. So the next spot we're at is Mount Vic Lookout Point. Looks like there's a little triangle thing here. Let's check it out. So throughout this area you can see there's signboards, and it kind of shows you how close New Zealand is to Antarctica. Certain times of the year, or when there's large solar flares, and if it's a clear day you'll actually get Aurora Australis. So it looks like this is a memorial to Richard Evelyn Byrd. So it looks like you can hike up to this area, and these trails go off into the Mount Vic area. All right, let's go up to the lookout point. Looks like you have a cannon right here too. So this cannon has been up here since 1877. Speaking of Antarctica, this current storm, it's really chilly, comes off of the Southern Ocean. So you get wind and rain and it's super cold and brings in a lot of snow in the higher altitudes. This is the lookout point. Up here you get a really expansive and amazing view of Wellington. Also, you get a great view of the surrounding areas. So this area over here is Lyall Bay, and you can see Wellington Airport in the distance over there. You have some info boards up here as well. Yeah, so there is Te Papa right there, and that's the Harbor Walk. And we were just down there near the Oriental Bay Beach and the boat sheds. It looks pretty icy and cold with a storm rolling in. There's also this large boulder up here. Let's see what this is. It's called Mount Victoria Summit. All right, so really good views. As you can hear, it's super windy up here and my hands are really cold, so I'm gonna head back to the car. This is an info board on why it's so windy in Wellington. Basically, the Cook Strait is a nozzle, causes the wind to accelerate, which Wellington gets hit by that accelerated wind. All right, so the last location is Lyall Bay, and it's extremely windy. I'll try my best to not get the wind sound. So you can see, very stormy today. So this is the next day. We came back here because it got really stormy and rainy and windy, but today it's pretty nice and there are people surfing. The tide looks about the same height. You can see it's a lot more clear. It's still cold, a slight breeze, but it looks pretty nice. So we're gonna grab a bite to eat here to go. Downstairs they have restrooms, and then upstairs is the restaurant. All right, this is Lyall Beach. Let's go take a look. So I believe that building right there is the Lyall Bay Surf Club. You can see paddle boarders as well out there. Today it looks like the waves are pretty good for longboarding. Nice rolling type waves. And you can see the beach is kind of a mixture of sand and rock. Hydrofoil, paddle hydrofoil. Looks kind of fun. You can see today how the storm has cleared. I think another storm is arriving tomorrow. along the sidewalk here, you have a few shops and a few cafes. A variety of businesses. There's some interesting looking street art. There's a giant stamp. And it looks like there's a few surf shops around here as well. So down this way. Ton of surfboards here. Definitely the place to come if you're going to do some surfing. Also, I wanted to stop by and get a shot of this. Kind of sways in the wind. Bit of installation artwork right here. So here's an info sign, Zephyrometer. I think one year it got hit by lightning, and so the tip of it like frayed out. This is the last stop for this episode. You can see it's super still right now in the bay. Also, I wanted to film the Wellington sign. So across the bay you can see Mount Vic. The other day we were at the lookout point at the tip up there. All right, so that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you in the next one. All right, bye.